Your wilting pepper plants need water right now. And if you are waiting until evening because you have heard water burns leaves in the sun, that mistake could be costing you peppers every single summer. You put the watering can down and leave them in the heat. It feels like the safe choice. But what if waiting until evening is actually causing more damage than watering at noon? Below the surface, the finest root hairs are rapidly collapsing. The upper layer of dirt is baking solid. That is exactly why so many gardeners lose flowers without realizing the damage started hours earlier. Before doing anything else, push your bare finger a few inches into the soil next to the main stem. If it feels completely dry below the surface, pick up the hose immediately. Turn the pressure down to a gentle trickle. Give the root zone a slow, deep watering until the entire area is evenly moist. If the soil is genuinely dry several inches down, do not wait for evening. Water the root zone deeply, even during the hottest part of the day. The fear of scorched leaves does not happen the way many people think. Ordinary watering does not burn healthy leaves simply because moisture sits on them. Sitting flush against the leaf, the liquid evaporates straight into the air. Last July, a row of container eggplants taught me a harsh lesson about this exact timing. I let them wilt every single afternoon, assuming they were just reacting naturally to the 90-degree air. I told myself they would recover just fine once the sun went down. And they did. They looked completely healthy by sunset. But 2 weeks later, they stopped setting fruit entirely. The damage inside the plant had already started. And that is exactly why checking the soil instead of guessing is so important. Here is what is happening inside the plant during those hot afternoon hours. Moisture moves from the deep roots up through the main stem and out through tiny pores called stomata. This constant upward flow pulls heat away from the plant tissue. If the soil is bone dry at 2 in the afternoon, the plant has no liquid left to pull from the ground. To survive, it slams those stomata shut to conserve whatever moisture remains. The internal cooling system slows dramatically. Within minutes, the temperature of the leaf spikes wildly. And this is where most gardeners think the damage ends. It doesn't. When the sun dips below the horizon and the air cools, the plant might slowly regain enough internal pressure to lift its leaves back up. But the tiny root hairs that absorb nutrients suffer heavily when the soil bakes in direct sunlight. The plant has to expend valuable energy to repair that root system the next day. Energy that should have gone toward developing flowers and ripening vegetables. This daily cycle of extreme drought triggers a cascade of secondary failures. Calcium depends on a steady flow of water to reach developing fruit. When you leave a plant thirsty during the peak afternoon heat, that upward flow of liquid slows dramatically. Calcium movement slows dramatically as well. The rapidly expanding cells at the bottom of a growing pepper or eggplant are suddenly starved of the building blocks they need to form strong walls. 2 weeks later, you find massive black sunken spots on the bottom of your best vegetables. The blossom end rot did not start the day you saw the black spot. That afternoon may have been the moment the problem first began. And the problems don't stop there. Losing water is only part of the problem. Dry soil itself starts working against the plant. Bare dirt sitting in direct sunlight acts like a thermal battery. It absorbs solar radiation and holds it deep into the ground. While the air temperature might be 90 degrees, bare topsoil can become dramatically hotter than the surrounding air, especially in full sun. Moisture has a tremendous capacity to absorb and dissipate heat. Damp soil stays significantly cooler than dry soil because the energy from the sun is used to evaporate the liquid rather than baking the earth. By denying the soil a deep soak, you are allowing the ground itself to become an oven. Sometimes, the visual picture tricks us entirely. You might look at a drooping pepper plant at 2 in the afternoon and assume the soil is bone dry. But heat stress and genuine thirst look completely identical above ground. The plant loses internal pressure and sags in both cases. If you start pouring liquid onto soil that is already saturated just because the leaves are wilting, you push all the oxygen out of the root zone. The roots are left with much less oxygen, and the plant wilts even harder the next day. This is why the finger test is absolutely essential. You must verify what is happening beneath the surface before you attempt to fix what is happening above it. If the dirt is moist, but the plant is wilting, leave the hose alone and consider setting up a temporary shade cloth instead. The texture of the ground changes drastically when it loses all its liquid. Clay-heavy soils bake into a solid crust that repels moisture. If you wait until dusk to finally turn on the hose, you will notice the liquid pooling on the surface and running off the sides of the bed rather than sinking in. The roots located 6 inches down remain completely dry despite your evening efforts. To break this crust, you have to use a pulse watering technique. You apply a small amount of liquid directly at the base, let it sit for 10 minutes to soften the hard top layer, and then return to deliver a deep, slow watering. This situation becomes even more critical if you are growing in raised beds or black plastic pots. Containers lack the insulating mass of the open ground. A black plastic pot sitting on a sunny patio absorbs heat from all sides simultaneously. The outer edges of the root ball can become dangerously hot against the plastic. When you see a container plant wilting in the sun, waiting 6 hours to provide relief can lead to significant root damage. You must water the container thoroughly until excess water begins draining from the bottom, ensuring the entire volume of dirt is saturated and cooled. Many growers intentionally wait for twilight, watering the beds when the air is cool and the sun is gone. This traditional routine creates a completely different biological threat. If the soil stays wet overnight and the foliage remains damp, it can increase the risk of several common fungal diseases. Giving a deep, targeted soak at the base during the midday heat provides the plant exactly what it needs to survive the afternoon sun, while allowing the surface of the soil plenty of time to dry out before darkness falls. The most effective way to manage how the soil heats up in the first place is to change its surface. In hot summer weather, bare soil heats up much faster than mulched soil. You need to apply a thick physical barrier between the soil surface and the solar radiation. A 4-inch layer of clean wheat straw, shredded leaves, or untreated wood chips completely changes how your soil behaves in hot weather. The mulch intercepts the intense sunlight and often keeps soil significantly cooler during hot afternoons. When you apply liquid through a thick layer of straw, the moisture sinks deep into the root zone and stays there, protected from rapid evaporation. The plant has a steady, cool reservoir to draw from throughout the hottest hours of the day. The liquid you add to the soil at noon is not meant to sustain the plant for tomorrow. It is an emergency response required for today. The plant uses that moisture to literally sweat, dropping its internal temperature, keeping its cellular structure intact, and maintaining the vital flow of calcium to the developing harvest. Go out to your garden right now and push your finger into the soil next to your struggling plants. If it feels dry, give them a slow, deep watering. Then gather enough straw or shredded leaves to cover every patch of bare dirt in your beds. If this watering myth fooled you too, hit the like button so more gardeners stop making the same mistake. Subscribe for practical gardening tips every week, and tell me in the comments, have you been avoiding midday watering because of this myth? Or have you been watering whenever your plants actually needed it? And if you know someone who is afraid to water in the sun, share this video with them. You might save their harvest too.